Manager Fred Gibson. Let's hear it for Fred. Fred? Not that short, are you?
I don't know what else there is to say. He covered everything. The turnout today and the turnout we had when we came back has just been phenomenal. To be able to share this with everybody makes it a whole lot more important to us. When we came back and all the outpouring of emotion that you've given us and all the people have given us in the paper with the ads and things like that, this has made it all worthwhile. If you can't share something with somebody, I don't think it's very important. And we've been able to do that with you. I think we've given the county something that it can grow on. All it was really for us is win one more game against the best competition in the world. I don't want to downgrade that. I thought it was quite an achievement, but to be able to come back and give it to you, and we would like to be able to give it all to you, the feelings that we had, and the pleasure that we had, and all the enjoyment, that's what it's all about. Hopefully, because of the people that put this together, people are going to be able to remember this a lot longer than it would if we could just come back and everybody said, nice job. We've got some people in this community that are working very hard to make sure that doesn't happen. And the best thing that I can tell you is you've got a lot of young people that are working very hard to try to make this happen every year. We have some great young people in this league, and I think right now that every baseball player around will want to be with us, Nicker. And we're really looking forward to having as many people in our league as possible. We think it's an exciting place to be. And
what you just heard was a small excerpt from One Magical Summer, the documentary that was put together to celebrate the World Series championship team coached by our guest, Fred Gibson. Today, we bring to you the second half of the conversation that Pat and I had with Coach Gibson. It's episode 54 of the Coaching Life podcast. Something that I want to make sure that we do before we get off here. I know we've talked for over an hour, but I want to talk about this documentary, One Magical Summer, that's on YouTube. How long did it take to make that? Can you walk us through that a little bit, that documentary, and maybe walk us through the making of the documentary, but also some of the experiences that they captured that when you watched it, you just kind of your heart was full.
Yeah. Dave Norris and Ron Mash were the ones that put it together. Joe Edwards had really started the ball a long time ago, probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, saying we need to have some kind of documentary or something so that people will have a way to remember this, because he said most people don't even know what happened. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, we've got some films, we've got albums full of pictures, we've got all this stuff, we've got all this information. And he said, well, let's start picking that stuff up. So I went around, I got some from Mrs. Strickland, and we had some, and the Hartmans had some, and it was kind of an amazing thing, but still it sat there. And then he put Garrett Maiden on it, and he did a little more. But when he turned it over to Ron Mash and Dave Norris, who they were a country band for a long time, those two guys, and they have their own radio broadcast type of thing where they can put stuff together. They really put it together, and they would come and we did the thing down at the ball field, and they had long talks with me. They had long talks with Larry Corrigan, who was really the first coach that got things going, took them all the way to the regional, his very first year. They had Scott DeCaminata and Nathan Schaller, Brent Hartman talked. So they tried to bring all this together, and he would say, we have this. Is this true? and you know how your mind kind of plays tricks on you at times. I was sure that we left Ashtabula and went over to Illinois for the regional, but actually we had left Dayton. It was the next year when we went to the regional that we left from Ashtabula and up in there. So here I am arguing one thing, and then I find out, well, crap, here it is.
Went to so many regionals, you got them all mixed up.
Yeah, yeah. So they started putting that together, and when I watched it, I thought there were things that about how they formed the league. I had no knowledge of what they did. I was not formally involved with putting it together. Mrs. Slater, Tom Slater, Shirley Slater really did a wonderful job of dotting the I's and crossing the T's, because when you start working with Williamsburg, you have to do things exactly the way they want it. And so they did all that work. They saw the kids needed to have something other than just city rec where you just farted around and played.
Yeah.
You know, city rec is okay if you don't really care if you win or lose. Everybody bats, everybody has fun. But I always thought that was like Calvin golf. You know, play whatever hole you want to, do whatever you want to do. You don't have to come to practice. You still get to play the same. That just didn't seem to fit this group of kids that we had coming. And when they put this together, it was quite a thing. And now to see it on film and talking, and all these people were talking, Stacy DeCaminata, who was really instrumental in when we went to these tournaments, and seeing her talk, and Dan, and then just starting to relive and reading all those stories about the games again. It was just truly fantastic to be a part of that, to be a part of a team that was runner-up in the World Series, one that you're part of does that. And they didn't even mention in that this group went on and won the State Legion tournament.
American Legion, yeah.
I was when I sit there, I was starting to get chills and stuff like that, and I'm thinking, wow, that was really neat. This must have been something. And then you see all the people at the crowd with the uptown. We came back through with the parade, not on the parade, but we came through town honking the horn. And when they met us up around Logan, and we did a caravan in, there were cars stacked up. Oh my God, anybody being behind that group of people would really been hot, because they couldn't get around.
Right.
It stretched on for miles. You can imagine if you were in a hurry. And when we got to Nelsonville, everybody was out cheering and everything. We came down through, and everybody was out on the bridge at the Plains. And then we came into Athens, and nobody seemed to know we were even there.
Isn't that the way it goes, though?
Yeah. And then we got down on East 8th Street, and that's where all the Athens people were.
Yeah.
They weren't up on Court Street. They were all down at the mall. Now, I have a recollection it was at where like Save-A-Lot is. Other people have that we were all the way down by the gas company that's not there anymore. It's down where Menards is now.
Oh, yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm right and they're wrong, but that's just the way it is. Sometimes you feel like you've got the right answer, and sometimes you don't. But just watching that and listening to Don Skurlock talk at the when they had the parade, they had it all out in front. He's saying all the things that I thought I was going to say. That's not good. When you have a speech all ready to go, and the guy right in front of you says all the things.
You didn't have any trouble, though.
I didn't.
No, you didn't. That was one of the first things that I recognized watching the documentary, and it is so well put together. And I would recommend anyone going out and watching it, because it's a snapshot of our history.
It
and
is.
I love the footage and the way it looks now. It's not. You can definitely tell that it was filmed, in the 80s, years ago.
Yeah.
But you sounded great, Coach. I think that was the first thing that when Coach Stewart texted it to me. Hey, it's been a while ago since I watched it, and I said, man, Coach Gibson, he sounds really good in front of a microphone. I could tell that group had good leadership behind them just by the way that you were talking. So
when we formed that team from the teams that we had in the league, we knew we had some really good players. And Don Skurlock and I never left the field when we practiced until it was dark. That was we stayed there. If somebody wanted extra hitting, we stayed and did extra hitting. If they wanted extra ground balls, we stayed and we did extra ground balls. If we just wanted to talk about what we were going to be doing, we never left before it was dark. And our parents, our wives were like, "Oh my God, what is wrong with these people?"
You got to marry the right person, don't you? That's one of the things that you've always told. Yeah. And you know, that's also not something that wasn't surprising to me on that speech there at the end of the documentary, right around the hour and 20-minute mark or so. You start talking on the stage, and one of the first people you made sure that you praised was your wife, Pat. And,
she has been a true saint.
Yeah, she has.
And we know that our wives are, if we're going to be in coaching, if we're going to be spending that much time away from everything, you better have a saint of a wife, or you're not married anymore.
That's the truth.
It's as simple as that. And
you better have one that doesn't, that can handle hearing everybody badmouth their husband.
Now, Pat didn't do real good with that one.
She can hold her own. I'll tell you that right now.
Oh yeah, she can do that. She was in the crowd and watching me coach basketball, and pretty soon I'd see her. She's now bought a $1,000 camera, and she's taking pictures down on the floor. And so the messenger person said to her, "Why are you doing this?" And she said, "I got tired of people bad mouthing my husband while I was up in the crowd, so I came down here and taking pictures." And so the woman prints that in the messenger. It was perfect. Absolutely perfect, because that's just exactly how she felt.
That's good.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
yeah. But when we went to Florida, Kissimmee, Florida, or Kissimmee at night. That's what they say down there. Don Skurlock and I stayed in the same room. Our wives did not stay in the room with us. We had our room at about 40 degrees, I think. So staying on hot outside. To be able to sleep, we had that, and they walk in the door and they go, "Oh, we're not staying back out." They go. So I don't know whether we did that on purpose or what, but you know, it's a camaraderie type of thing. When you start working with a guy that luckily his job allowed him to get away in the summertime, which was not easy for him, but he made it work. And my job, that was easy because I was teaching and I had the summer off. So, you know, to be able to do this stuff, it's quite a challenge for most people to be able to coach, especially nowadays.
Yeah.
I know no one's critical of the way you coach or the way you do things, but I know Coach and I both have had times when we would like to have coached at an orphanage. So,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And my first job was at Columbus South. And when I signed an early contract, they didn't know where I was going to be. They said, "Okay, call me in the day before the school started." And they said, "Okay, you're going to be at Columbus South. You're going to be teaching history. And you're going to be the cross country and track coach." And I went, "Excuse me? I don't know anything about cross country or track." And they said, "You said you wanted to coach."
Yeah.
I said, "Well, yes, I do."
Get your foot in the
And they
door.
said, "Cross country and track." And I said, "Well, I guess I can learn from the head coach." And they said, "You are the head coach." I said, "What?" Now, you can imagine cross country, you get them out there, you have them run, right? And I bought books and I read The Long Green Line. This guy, a great champion coach out in Indiana. But then we get to track, and I don't know anything. And so I have a guy who can shot put, so he teaches the shot putters. I have a guy that can long jump. He does the long jump. I have one pole vaulter. He teaches the pole vault. And I took care of the sprinters, many of who would outrun the police, I think, and they were pretty fast.
Maybe that's how they got so fast.
We came in 6th out of 13 teams in the league. So I thought, shoot, this could make me coach of the year. But I didn't know anything about track. The next year, they let me coach basketball also for free. I didn't get paid.
Also for free.
Well,
I got a free period. I said, "What's a free period?" They said, "Well, you get your planning period and you get a period where you can do anything you want." I said, "Like sleep?" They said, "Yeah, if you want." They said, "But you can't leave the building." have to stay in the building. I said, no wonder you can't get anybody to coach. We had a football player who'd been an All-American at Tennessee, refused to coach football because they didn't pay. How about that for a waste of talent?
Wow.
Yeah.
That was back in the 60s.
We may be moving into a period where that's a reality again. So
and I guess I would have been a sucker for it because I did it. If you really like it, you're certainly not doing it. Now I know Coach got paid a lot for coaching baseball at Athens, and he went 7 years.
It's every bit
7 years without a dime. So
it's every bit a fraction of that football supplement. But
I know. So you look at that, and I think the most I ever made for coaching basketball was $3,300, something like that. So I'm sure it's a little more than that now, but
about 6 cents an hour.
Yeah.
No, you don't want to look at it that way.
No, you don't.
But in basketball, you roll the balls out and you tell them what to do. In baseball, you work on the field.
Yes.
And that is a huge time. My wife said, if you work this hard on this house here as you do on that ball field down there, this place would be wonderful.
I've had that same thing said to me. Coach, you know what I did this spring, just this week, actually? I went out on Sunday and I I mowed my yard, aerated it, and I overseeded it and fertilized it. It's the first time that's happened in 15 years on my own yard. I've done it.
Back when I coached, when I would say to them, I need to aerate the outfield. We need to do that. We don't have time. I said, well, then can I get a tractor and the spike thing and aerate myself? And they said, sure, no problem. Go right ahead. Now that won't work anymore.
Yeah, you get in trouble if you do that.
The infield grass, I did everything, and I aerated it, and I thought that was my baby. But life's changed now, I think, and
life has changed, and
maybe not for the better.
Yeah,
but I did spend a lot of time down there, and I think Pat could attest to that. She always knew where I was. She knew I wasn't out running around on her, just down to ball field.
Yep, just a bike right away.
Like all dirty and everything. Certainly wouldn't run around like that.
Well, here in the past few years, you've had the privilege of being able to follow quite a few SEC baseball games with your friends Dave and Brenda Strickland, mother and father of Scott Strickland, head coach at University of Georgia. Tell us a little bit about what that experience is like.
That's been unbelievable. We go down, they get a condo at the Game Day condominiums, and it's right across, maybe 100 yards. You walk up the hill and then you walk across the street and you're right in the main campus. You're close enough to the ball field that you can walk down for practice and games and stuff like that. So being around those type of players, I'm going to tell you what, anybody that thinks that they want to be a college baseball player needs to go see college baseball players. Mm-hmm. Because what they do, I don't care what level you are, it is a job, and you work your butt off. And a lot of people think, you just go, you have fun, you like everything's wonderful. Well, your kids know that that's not true.
That's
you
the truth.
get there and you're going to work your butt off. And then you see that type of player, that's what they want to do.
Right.
They want to be as good as they can be because they think that's the ultimate for them. And other people think, you just go play, and then that's the way it is. But no, those kids college athletes have something beyond high school. You have to really, really, really want to do that. And you also have to go to class.
Right.
You have to get the grades. And, when I played, it wasn't quite this bad. We started as soon as we got back from Christmas sometime in January, and you were done by the middle of May. Now it's a year-round if they allow you to go to school. And we're hoping that someday we'll get to go back because colleges could go away here soon.
Yeah.
And Kent State said they were some amazing amount of money in debt. So you see those guys, you get to go down in the dugout during practice and talk to them. And I've talked to guys that Michael Curry, who's playing minor league baseball right now. We had long talks about him thinking he wanted to be in the FBI. And, just getting to know those kids the way I got to know them. This year he had maybe two of the best pitchers in the whole country coming back.
Yeah.
Both of them through 97, 98, 99. And now they're both draft eligible. He may lose them both.
Yeah.
So how do you replace something like that? They were already ranked 4th in the country. And I met a guy named Chris Davis. And he grew up with not a lot, but developed a type of thing that all the airlines use. And he's the only one that has it. And he flies people around for honor flights and stuff like that. And he decided he wanted to take us down to Georgia, fly us down, fly us back, show us his cars that he has amassed. And I would never have met him if it hadn't been for this. Mm-hmm. Such a wonderful guy. You wouldn't know he had a dime, except he's got lots of dimes. and he would come down and sit beside me and say, can I get you a Coke? Can I get you something to eat? Can I get you an ice cream? I'm going, he could buy and sell me in a heartbeat, and he's wanting to know what he can do for me. Mm. And that says a lot about somebody.
Yes,
he would have probably done that for anybody. Just, and then we have people that are really, really greedy. Yeah. But those experiences, I know the Left Field Lounge group, we're fun friends on Facebook now from Georgia. They don't even go in. They just watch the game through the gate so they can enjoy their favorite beverage.
That's right.
They all have season tickets. They can go in a game to use the bathroom.
Right.
So I know all those guys, and you meet all those new coaches that Scott's been able to work with, and it's just been amazing. And then this year we had a trip planned. We were flying down to watch South Carolina open up the SEC stage season at Georgia. Then we were going to go to Nashville and watch Vanderbilt and them, and all that just went away in a heartbeat because of this coronavirus thing.
It was getting really close to that time, wasn't it? When all this happened?
Yeah, we were like within a week or week and a half of flying.
Was Dave going to get to go?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Yes.
I know that's good to hear. They did something really cool. It was last spring, wasn't it? When he wasn't able to go to many games at all, and they made a big life-size cardboard cutout of him and set in the stadium.
And they moved it all over the place because he never sat still. Yeah. So they put it way down by the left field pitch, left field line where the visitors had their bullpen. They put it up. They had it all over.
Play the old game of Where's Waldo? Where's Dave Strickland? Yeah.
And when we would go to Hoover, Alabama for the SEC tournament, you didn't know where he was going to be. He would be clear. He would be so far away. If they were losing, he had to get as far away as possible. And if they were winning, he was right there. Losing is not really a thing that the Stricklands want to do. And
competitive family.
I can attest to that. I can sometimes bear it, but just watching Joe this year with LSU, we watched every minute of every game. And we've watched them over and over. Mm-hmm. And just knowing somebody that's playing is a big deal. And it's easier to root for somebody when you know somebody that's right involved in it. Mm-hmm. And the Strickland coach down there, that's just amazing.
It is.
That's why I have been praying and hoping and wishing and trying my best, Coach, on Twitter and social media to convince the Bengals not to draft Joe Burrow because I'm a Browns fan. So I don't want to have to play Joe Burrow twice a year for the next 20 years. Yeah, unfortunately.
And he's going to start. They're releasing Dalton this week. It looks like
today.
Yeah,
he was going to start anyway.
Yeah.
You spend that much money for somebody, you probably start him.
Yeah, he's going to start.
Got that huge bonus.
Coach, I'm looking
Here I
for.
was thinking that Scott was making a lot of money coaching baseball down there, and now we got a guy that's making lots more than even him. So,
Yeah.
but if you totaled up all of what I made coaching in those 42 years and all the money that you got paid for your years, we're still not very far.
What would that be in terms of minutes or time that Joe Burrow will be on the field this year? What fraction of a second would that be if we added all that up? So
I know if he gets on the field for 3 minutes, he's caught us already.
Yeah, there you go.
This has been fun.
It is.
Do this all over again.
Well, we'll have to do it again. We need to do it again sometime. We can actually sit in the same studio together.
Definitely.
Get you behind the microphone with us. And
this is the first time I've ever Zoomed.
Oh, well.
This is different for me. I went online, so I figured out how to do it, how to get signed up. And
it's not that bad, is it?
No, it's not.
You use this for a lot of things.
Maybe I could teach the kids at home. I say, okay, here's your substitute for today.
That's right.
I've substitute taught for now 15 years.
Yeah. Yeah, Pat, you didn't realize
35, so that's 50 years of experience.
Yeah,
right?
you're still teaching school pretty much every day, right? Substitute?
Pretty much. I was doing at least 4 days a week, sometimes 5. So this has cost me monetarily, but with a pension coming in, it's not a big deal as far as that goes. It's a big deal that I don't get to see the kids.
Yes.
And if you don't get to see the kids, you're missing out on something because now there are some turds, there's no doubt, but most of them are awfully nice to me, and so or I wouldn't be doing it.
Yeah. Speaking of seeing the kids, before we'd be remiss to not mention some of the other things that you do for athletics, for youth athletics and amateur sports and high school sports. Not only have you coached, which we've spent an hour and a half here talking about coaching, but you've been the voice of the Athens Bulldogs football team for several years. I don't even know how many that's been. I
think my first year was either 88 or 89.
Yeah.
I was there for the football season of 89.
Yeah. So the PA announcer there, and when they're on the road, you're with Nelsonville TV cable as
Channel 15. We're here because we care.
That's right. Play-by-play.
Was it?
I do the Athens games along with Les Champlin and Chris Hewitt, and there's a group that does them for Trimble, and they're trying to get a group to do it for Miller, but that's been hit and miss.
Yeah.
So hey, Joe puts out a lot of money.
Don't forget your key grip, Rick Crossan.
Oh my goodness!
Your camera
Rick,
guy. That's right.
Without the camera, I'd have to zoom it. So he's been with us for a long time now. We were trying to figure out just exactly when Chris took over from Dave Warren. Dave Warren, actually. There's Warrens and Warrens, and he's a Warren. And in fact, there's a Dave Warren too. But it's been quite an experience doing that. I get to announce at the State Legion Championship games up at Lancaster when I moved up there. That's been fun. I got to do the keynote speech last year at the Legion tournament. That was fun.
In fact, you guys are at that Legion tournament during your anniversary, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah. One year, it's Pat sitting beside me keeping the book, and she keeps getting all these messages to her phone. I'm thinking, what's going on?
Yeah, right.
And I finally said, what is today?
Oh, no.
And date-wise. And she told me the 29th, and I went, the 31st. It was her birthday.
Oh, yeah.
And I went, because the end of July, first part of August, that's her birthday. And I said, what day is this? And she said, it's Wednesday. And I said, no, what's the date? And she says, the 31st. I said, oh my God, happy birthday. And so I announced to the crowd that it was her birthday, and that if they could, stop by and say happy birthday to me, maybe I would be allowed to stay.
Do something to get you off the hot seat.
But I knew July 31st was her birthday. I just didn't know what day it was. when you get there,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
staying at the hotel and you're there every day, and hey,
Absolutely.
you
And-
lose track, right?
And you've been one of those privileged men to marry a woman that she'd rather been no other place during her birthday than at a baseball game.
Yeah,
Like
during all that time when we were at those tournaments and stuff, we were always there during her birthday. And I'd say, "What do you want for your birthday?" She said, "Just win the game today."
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's an easy present. I got a really good team.
Yeah, it's good on those years.
Yeah.
Keep doing
Yeah.
that. Just keep on that. And so now we don't even get each other anything for our birthdays. If she wants it, she goes and gets it. And I really don't need anything. So
She says, "Look at what you got me for my
a pair of
birthday."
jeans and a pair of tennis shoes, and I'm set.
That's right.
And a T-shirt, thank God. Yeah, I've got a T-shirt. I think back to, I don't know. It's been forever. That's all I have is Athens baseball T-shirts and one wrestling T-shirt
I was running in my neighborhood.
and a bunch of things from Georgia and LSU.
Yeah, you've been able to add a few different colors, red and purple in there. But I was running in my neighborhood one day, and a guy, I was running by a guy, and he said, "I got to ask you, every day when you run by here, you have a different Athens baseball shirt on. Do you have any other clothes?" And I said, "Look, when you this is my wardrobe. That's what I've got a Battler shirt on today. So I do have some AB stuff and Waynesburg stuff too. So a few OU
That's
things.
all where I think it's Sawyer Coons. So it's going to Alderson Broadus to play football.
Play football. That's correct. From Trimble. Yeah.
I've got to get over there. If you ever start school again and there's baseball, I want to go over and see him play.
We'll definitely go together. That'd be great. Yeah. Because I mean, he'll be a senior next year. That class is a senior.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I saw where they allow the seniors to come back again. Some places.
Yeah, in fact, Brock technically would have they're giving another year of eligibility to everyone. And so he would have another year as well, but he's not sure. I mean, he's had a plan. So, I mean, when he graduates, he wants to go ahead and either jump into his major as an exercise physiologist or do a master's program, whether that be here at OU or whatever. But I know at some point in that time too, he's going to get married. So,
wow,
yeah,
that's a big step.
Yeah, during Christmas this year, he got engaged. He and Allie Malone got engaged. So,
wow.
Yes, yeah,
I did that 44 years ago, almost 45 now in August. Whew. How she stayed with me this long is.
And you even
How
had
many times she's heard these stories over and over and over.
you even had a lady who was a next door neighbor to our baseball field who did her best to try to break you two up. That lady.
Yeah, I went over to try to get a baseball, and she said, "No, my lawyer said I had to keep all these." But here's a picture. Maybe your wife would like to have this. And it was my first wife's picture.
Oh my!
So I brought it back, and Pat and her are good friends. So
Yeah, this lady had a collection pad of foul balls that every time a ball would go over into her lawn, she lives literally right next to the baseball field down there in Athens, in the Plains, and she wouldn't give them back. She would just keep them all. She said that every time
told her to keep.
She said every time the kids went over to get a foul ball, it let her dogs out, and her dogs got loose. They'd go into the fence. They were trespassing on her yard to get to go get a ball. And so I finally just asked her. I said, "Well, here I'll tell you. This is what I said, Coach. I said, I know you didn't like that last coach, but I'm the new coach. And so if I have these kids come and knock on your door, will you give us our baseballs?" And she said, "Well, yeah, sure. In fact, here, hold on a minute." She went inside and brought me out a whole big bag of old baseballs.
Coach.
So we got them back.
I could have lived a long time without hearing that story.
They were chewed up by dogs and everything.
Here's what she told me. "I'll give you this one ball back. Do you think that everybody will be okay with this from now on?" And she said, "How about John Wharton?" And I said, "If you keep keeping the balls, no, John is not going to be your friend." He said, Oh, shoot.
Is that who she was renting
He
from?
wouldn't give me any balls back, and she gave him to him.
Yes, that's right.
Wrong.
I don't know. I don't know.
Maybe she finally got the siding redone on her house, and they didn't just do the one side; they did it all.
Uh-huh.
She paid for it all.
Yeah, she put
She
a new
didn't know
fence
there
up
was
and
a
everything.
field there beside her when she bought the house.
You guys didn't you put a net up? There used to be a net right there when the press box was over there.
And eventually it rotted, but they said they were going to have to put up another one. It's going to cost $1,000 that I needed to come up with. I said, the balls that hit the house, let's see about trajectory here. The balls that hit that house have to be way over the top of that.
Mm-hmm.
They went, that's right. I said, well, that's a waste of money.
Yes.
So we took the poles down. We took everything down.
Yeah. Yeah, we lost more balls by we could have used a little 3-foot fence just in front of that little creek right there, that little ditch, because you'd lose more balls going in there, and as soon as they sit in the water for a couple minutes, they're done.
Yep, we had, of course, we had our batting cage right there, and they came along, and the reason why we couldn't have a fence there was because it was on the right of way of the gas company, and so you couldn't put any structure on that. They told us they were going to tear our batting cage down if we didn't take it down.
Yeah.
They were serious. So we moved it over on the third base side over there, and then kids climbed up on it and caved it in, and so we just did that.
Yeah.
So then Coach built one underneath the pavilion.
Yeah. Was the pavilion built when you were there? I mean, did you have it built? Yeah. So what we did was we put up cable and we stuck a net on it, and that way during game days and when we're down there playing games, we could slide it back and people could still sit underneath that pavilion. But then during practice, we could use it as a batting cage. So that's still being used.
He didn't think of that when I was
right.
He withheld all that good stuff.
Yeah,
he did.
right.
The truth comes out. He steals all my balls.
I have to admit, I can't take credit for that idea. That was one of the parents. That's one of the parents that liked me. They came up with that idea. So.
It's always good to have a couple that like you.
That's right.
I tell you, Coach Stewart.
You know better than that.
Coach Stewart's very fond of you. He's been telling ever since we started this podcast. He's been saying, "Man, we got to get Coach Gibson on here. He's got so many stories, and it'd be such a good show." And it's kind of like one of those movies, people tell you got to go see a movie. It's so good. And you finally go and see the movie and you're disappointed. It's not as good as what they say it was, but this has not been a disappointment. I can tell you that you've far exceeded my expectations, even after Coach Stewart has built you up. But we've had several guests with us to have these conversations, and we always ask our guests one special question. And I want to ask you that question. And basically it's, do you have a favorite memory or moment that you can think of when you played youth sports?
When I played youth sports?
Yeah.
Yeah. I begged my little league coach, Nye Volkswagen, who I played for, Nye University with Volkswagen. And I begged him, I was the pitcher. I said, can I please catch a game? And he said, sure. Not when you're about 15, 18, you can catch all you want, but not for me. You're going to pitch for me. And there was no rules. You pitched every game. It's okay. I said, Phil Yelichny, he can pitch. He said, no. Finally, I convinced him to let me catch. I caught one inning and I said, I want out. I do not want to catch anymore. Let somebody else catch, because the balls kept coming in. They'd hit in the dirt, hit me in the arm, hit me in the shoulder. Never did it hit me where something was padded, and I went,
right.
Okay, this was a great experiment. You have to have a certain mentality to want to catch.
Yes, you do.
That is true.
I didn't. I wanted to throw the ball. I didn't want him to hit it back at me real hard, but I wanted to throw it. I did not want to catch ever again, and that was a seminal moment. Don't do that again. Never did. Never caught another game. Never caught another inning.
That's good stuff.
That's a good question, and that's a good story.
Yes, it is.
That is a good story.
And that's the truth too. It's a different breed. I was the same way. I tried to catch one time. It wasn't even in a game for me. It was a practice. We were having an inter squad. I was a pony league player, so I'd have been 15 years old, and I put the gear on and went back, and I think I caught one batter. I kept closing my eyes, and so the ball never hit my mitt. Even the ball didn't go in the dirt. It hit me in the chest. So I don't know. But then I raised a catcher, so I don't know how that works.
I'll tell you my realization.
My granddaughter thinks catching is the greatest thing that's ever been around.
She's pretty darn good at it too.
And why would you want to do this?
She loves
said,
it.
You're right in the middle of the game, and you always have an effect on the game. And I went, yeah, I did that as a pitcher. Shortstop. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I found out in my coaching career that I was a shortstop, so I always thought shortstops were the best. I was a pitcher, so I thought they were the best. And I found out when coaching, the catcher was the best.
Yeah.
Because if they get on first base and there's a pass ball, they're the second. Now they're third on steal because you can't throw anybody out and they're scoring a pass ball. You can't win. You're going to lose. And if you don't have a catcher with a good arm, they're just going to steal you blind. So,
yeah, we've said that.
You got to have obviously you have to have a good pitcher if you're going to be really good, but you have to have somebody behind the plate that can catch the ball too. Because sometimes you get guys that throw the ball too hard for the catcher that you have.
Right.
Absolutely.
What are you going to do then?
Yeah.
Pitch your worst pitcher?
Yeah. And then you've got a guy back there that every player on the field is looking at every pitch. And if he's no good, what kind of confidence is that giving the other 8 guys that are standing there staring at him? And if he's not exuding confidence back there as a catcher, and he doesn't show any kind of leadership at all, it really affects a baseball team, I think, and a softball team more than people realize. It's the most important position on the field, I believe. So
that is a great point.
Second to pitcher, but it is the most important position.
Or shortstop.
Except for the center fielder.
Center fielder, I never played center fielder. I don't know. They're supposed to be good. I always thought that the right fielder had to have the best arm.
Mm-hmm.
And the center fielder had to be the fastest and catch the ball. And left fielder could be your weakest position, but they better be able to hit.
Yeah.
Because they got the shortest throw. They show the second, third, and probably when they have to throw home, they're going to be safe anyway. But so you better hit.
Yeah.
And that was my theory. And Matt Goodwin was just I had a lot of good right fielders. If you didn't have a good right fielder, because that ball spins away from you and everything. It's just
people don't realize that. Yeah, these kids grow up in youth ball and they're like, exactly.
You're going to lose. That's
the truth. That's the truth. So can we convince moms of that?
No. That's an easy question. No, you're not.
We'll never convince them. We
could probably do one of these and actually talk about baseball.
That's right.
We really think about the game, but you go through all the different things and drills and stuff like that. But unless you can build confidence in the kid, unless you can make them feel like I can do this, you're not ever going to be successful. I mean, they say that if you can destroy a player by telling them how bad they are, they're going to believe you. Yeah. They may not always believe you when you tell them that we think you're going to be a good player, but they will always believe you if you say, you just don't have it. You're never going to have it. Coaches have been fired for that by saying that. It's just self-fulfilling. They're not going to be any good. And now you can pull them aside and say things that you need to do. You can tell them as a group things that you need to do. But if you get personal with them and they're not where they can accept it as a growing thing, you embarrass somebody in front of the group, you'll never get them back. They're gone.
That's great wisdom.
We've had people that have tried that at Athens, and they're no longer with us. And they just, you can't do that, especially here. Maybe some places you can do that. I don't know. But I realized quickly as a teacher that I couldn't be that guy that was super, super, super strict in the classroom. I had to have some fun. Or how do you go 35 years? How do you go back and sub 15 more? You have to make them sure that they know what they need to do and what's expected of them. But if you're going to be a turd all the time, I don't know how anybody could do. I don't know about you, Pat, to know exactly what you do, but I do know Chris is going to work with all these college students.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an easy thing to be able to get them to do what you want them to do. And so you have to treat each kid a little bit different.
Yeah.
You can't treat everybody exactly the same.
That's the key.
Yeah, definitely. I think you said it. You got to instill confidence, and to be able to tell a kid what they need to do to get better, they have to be able to trust that you're telling them the right thing. And to be able to trust you, you have to develop the relationship, right? So I'm on board with you, Coach. I think that's great stuff. It's a great way to cap things off here for our episode today.
Man, we hit 3 of those 40-minute time limits, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I see our timers coming down. I know. Oh, well.
Well, Coach would tell you that I could talk for and my wife would tell you that I could talk till tomorrow. You coach 42 years and you live 73. I had a woman the other day said, "Wow, you don't look like you're 73." I said, "What? I look like 80 or what?" I don't ever think that it's a compliment because I feel every one of my 73 years. The day I decided that I had to really quit, Coach can tell you this one. I'm out pitching batting practice, and I reached down to pick up a ball, and the next thing I know, I'm on the ground.
Just kept going. That's right.
Right over the top, and I went, and the kids come running in, and said, "Are you all right?" And I said, "I think I am, but I'm done pitching."
Yeah.
And no more batting practice. We were way out and on the soccer field and practice field, and from then on, no more batting practice. And then it became, how do I do this? Am I sure that I'm done? Yes.
Yeah.
How do I make sure that Chris gets the job? He may not know this, but I went in to see the superintendent. The superintendent told me, if you quit, you're probably never coming back at your age. I know that. Well, this is like I know. I'm not coming back. I don't want to come back. If I wanted to be back, I would just go be here. And he said, "Okay. Well, who else would get it?" I said, "Never mind. I'm out of here. I am wasting my time here."
Yeah,
so I went home and I called Chris and said, "Are you ready? You got everything in line? Because it's all yours." And been happy with that decision ever since. And somebody said, "Do you miss it?" I miss coaching basketball on a Friday night after a win when there's no Saturday game.
Mm-hmm.
And I miss baseball when they win the championship and everybody's cheering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miss the people calling me and telling me that I'm a dumbass. Oh, should I say that? They'll bleep that.
That's all right.
Yeah, we'll get rid of that.
We've had worse on here, actually.
Those letters I got that were unsigned telling me how stupid I was.
Yeah.
I don't miss that. Although sometimes they were funny. Told me one time in basketball that I had only doctors and lawyers kids on my basketball team. I didn't have any doctors and lawyers except for Steve Bruning, who's the all-time leading scorer in school history. But the girls' basketball team, which was the best one that we'd had for a long, long time, had doctors and lawyers for daughters.
It's all about the narrative.
They were league
suits their
champions
narrative.
and they were district. That's that team. What are they talking about? But, all in all, I wouldn't have changed a thing. It's all been good.
Yeah.
And now with doing stuff like this, I can remember all of it. Kind of remember. At least tell my version of it.
That's right.
That's basically what you have, because in that video, it said something about memories. That's probably the most important thing they can possibly have is the memories that we have. What else do we have?
That's it.
Can't relive it, but you can rethink it.
That's true. Coach, we'll let you go. I'm getting hungry.
I appreciate the chance to do this. I'm sure my wife's probably thinking, are we going to go get something to eat or what?
That's right. You guys driving through Steak and Shake?
We have. We did. In fact, we stopped for milkshakes last night.
Oh, yeah.
And for lunch, we went to Larry's Doghouse.
Yep. Got to visit the Strickland's places.
Yeah.
Well, it was Weenie Wednesday yesterday, so you can't pass that
Weenie
up.
Wednesday, but I always get a pork tenderloin sandwich. They're the best. Pat,
I have to try that.
We're doing well, and hope you guys are doing well, and hope your families are doing well.
Yeah,
This was fun.
It is fun. Tell Pat thanks a lot for giving us a couple hours of your time today.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
All right.
I will. Thanks, guys.
Yeah. We'll see you,
Thank
Coach.
you, Coach.